I'm Justin Kahn. You're listening to Fractal Radio. We're watching it if you're watching the video. And I am joined today by Chris, Adam, and Jackie from the Portal team. Thanks so much for coming on.
How's it going, guys?
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. So I'm super excited about your project, and visually it's like very stunning. Everything, all the stuff that you put out there is pretty incredible. Can you just describe to the audience what it is you're building?
Yeah, sure. I can start with that. So it's kind of like, at this point, we're starting with something that's a little bit like Animal Crossing meets the Metaverse, where it started with me personally wanting to hop into a virtual city. I was kind of hearing about all the Metaverse rumblings of the Metaverse, I guess, kind of in early 2020. And as a gamer, really just wanted to hop into a cool experience like that. Heard that, Mark Zuckerberg and Tim Sweeney, John Carmack were all into kind of building a cool virtual city. There's the ideas that come from Snow Crash. And early 2020 wanted to hop into something like that and see what was out there. Wasn't thinking of building something like this, but really just wanted to experience it as a gamer and hop into something, and didn't really see anything that was compelling emerging that would really be kind of more our style. You have things like Second Life that are kind of niche, kind of hardcore, kind of a hardcore audience. And, we were wondering kind of where, if Nintendo or Apple, that level of quality and accessibility were to, a company like that were to build something, what would that look like? We saw things like Animal Crossing kind of appearing during the pandemic, and that was more the type of thing. Like, I've been playing Animal Crossing since the Nintendo 64 days, and saw that there were kind of many elements of a metaverse there, even with being able to kind of build a space, and then they've been adding multiplayer to it, so people wanted to go visit other people's cities. So we spent a lot of time thinking about, like, what would the building blocks need to be to get to a dense city center as a metaverse, right? Something that felt like you're kind of exploring Tokyo, and there's hundreds of things to do on a single city block. So we were looking at things like, okay, that would be kind of cool. I would like to do that if I could kind of arrange a room for myself in the browser, and then just send somebody a link, and then they could hop in and, here's my posters on the wall, here's my jukebox playing this thing. Maybe we could watch some YouTube videos. So that was sort of the thing that we were like, that could be a building block. That can be kind of a starting point for, basically, we were seeing that to get to that dense city center, you need to make it really easy for people to build things and kind of express themselves with the build tools that are built in with this, very, very accessible drag and drop builder. So we thought, that would be a cool starting point. Didn't see anything, really emerging through 2020. That was kind of early 2020 was when we originally had the idea and started putting it together, and did some very light prototyping. But then early 2021, we were like, let's just build it. Our whole goal was to build, find a project to work on that we were just really excited to wake up to every morning and work on. So we just started building in 2021, and started with this kind of, this first piece, which is the room builder. But it's, we're entering the second phase, where it's all based around this one dense city center, one building. All the rooms that you're seeing people building, using the room builder, they're all part of this first central, skyscraper. And from there, you'll be able to, in the next phase, you'll be able to leave the room, explore the halls, check out other people's rooms, and then explore the, the downtown, the city center. So that's kind of a little bit of a background and where we're at.
And how did the three of you guys come together to build this project?
Yeah, so Jackie and I, we had started, Jackie, myself, and Alex, my brother, who's working on the Portals project now as well. We started a software studio in 2015 that we kind of had an agency background building software. I got into software engineering just through an interest in games, and worked at a lot of agencies that worked with the game companies. So we were building things for Riot Games and Blizzard and Nintendo. So lots of kind of marketing in browser. We're sort of pushing the browser to the limit in terms of what you can do in terms of experiences and 3D and WebGL and all that. So we built a consulting company in 2015 that essentially was working with a lot of entertainment companies to build in-browser experiences. And it was mostly gaming and theatrical titles. So Jackie and I actually met at her startup prior to the software studio, and then we basically in 2015.
E-commerce
Yeah, go ahead, Jackie.
product. It was a e-commerce product. So the whole thing after that, kind of wanted to build more of a lifestyle business. That's when Adam and I started the agency together. Spent a couple of years, grinding, really building it from up, and eventually we were able to automate it. So the past 2 years, we're kind of soul searching, trying to figure out, okay, now that we've done this business with service, like what is it that we want to build that would get us excited to wake up every day? And then after many iterations, kind of landed on this. And then
Chris, yeah, got involved right when we were launching. So we submitted to the Solana hackathon in what month did that start? We submitted in October. Yeah, it's been a whirlwind. I submitted in October. We got second place. Yeah, we got second place in gaming, and knew right away if this thing started to get attention that we were going to need help on marketing and community. It's like, okay, let's put up the Discord. Maybe like 2 days before we submitted, and they were going to we were going to be out in the open. And basically, this is kind of the power of one of the really cool things that you're seeing in Web3 and the community-driven things is we were seeing people from different Solana communities starting to hop into the Discord, and we saw some of the really cool community members that were from some specific NFT communities just being very helpful, providing a ton of feedback. And we were saying, if you guys know anybody, we need a community manager, we need this or that. And they're like, oh, you guys should talk to Chris. He's definitely in the Solana NFT community space. And then we reached out to Chris, and he's a total badass. Has been in business for many, many years. Has been deep in the Solana and crypto communities in general. And so he's kind of the voice that everybody kind of in the Portals community has been in contact with, and he's just absolutely amazing. So he came right at the right time, basically right as we were launching, got involved, and has been a total godsend. So yeah.
Amazing. And so tell me about what you've built so far. I think you touched on it a little bit. Maybe you can walk me through it actually if you want to share your screen or.
Yeah, sure. I could try to do that.
And maybe Adam, while you're finding the screen, I could just add to your point.
Sure,
so when I saw what Adam and Jackie had built, they had pretty much done it the opposite way of a lot of NFT and crypto projects. So they started actually building, the demo, building the actual thing, working for many, many months instead of, just launching the NFT and then in 6 months or 12 months, then you can see our thing. And that was one of the things that I really liked about them. They're so product first, which is a thing I appreciate.
They're building first rather than kind of just hyping the shit out of it first.
100%.
Yeah, so
love that.
So yeah, I think starting with just the Twitter feed over the last few days is a really cool place to start. So we just launched a week ago where end of November we did have an NFT that would allow you to get a space in Building 1, which is the hub, and from the launch where people are now using those NFTs to enter, basically that NFT is a key to your room in that building. So you're seeing on the Twitter feed just in the last week the things that people are building. So somebody made a theater room. We need to get video streaming back in. That is something that we had and was a little buggy. We took it out, but it's making its way back in. So you can do a theater room. We just added support for Ethereum NFTs as well. We started with Solana NFTs as you could import your Solana NFTs and put them on display on your wall. I just thought this was amazing, seeing what people are starting to build already with the very limited item set still. We have like 3 different room item sets that we're starting with, but people are being super creative and building awesome. This is an underwater pirate bar that someone made. Looks incredible. There was a New Year's party that one of the Solana NFT communities had, one of their baller spaces. And so, so these are all the things that we're seeing people build just in the 1 week since we launched. We're going to be rolling out, starting to tease what the downtown looks like, what the building looks like in the next few weeks. So people are going to be really excited about that. One of the other things that we launched with, and we took this demo down probably by the time this shows up online, we'll have this back online, but this was one of the things that was part of the hackathon submission and was essentially a demo of showing that you can definitely take things a little bit further than just arranging a space, in that you can right click on items and make them interactive and make a little bit of like an escape room even. So that was one of the things that we started with. It's the bronze key hunt, that this shows you, you can place an item, give it interactivity, and then make it pop up an iframe. So you can go to glitch.com or Replit and embed an iframe to like create clues and make your space really, really interesting. I think one of the other things that I didn't even touch on here, we haven't retweeted it, but again, there's just tons of cool stuff. Somebody made a watch store. What was the other commercial space? It was like not a medical practice, but people are basically making businesses in the building.
Chiropractor. Yeah,
chiropractor.
Yeah. Who was doing one-on-one consultation. Yeah, this is definitely the proof of concept that we had been theorizing this whole year. When pandemic happening, with animal thing happening, you see people were able to get very creative with limited items that were provided to them and just running wild with it, with commercials, entertainment purposes, and to see that happening now in portals, and that we made it super accessible. There's no downloading of any. You don't have to buy a game, right? It's all just in browser and send a link to your friends. So this is all just, seeing it coming alive and people actually doing the action that we thought that has been very, very cool.
That's so cool. And so the NFT drop that you did was like to buy a room in this building, or like an apartment in the building, in the first building.
Yep.
I love it. That makes a lot of sense to me. It's like people want. I love this idea of virtual land. Like all the way back 20 years ago, I was playing this game called Ultima Online, where you could like place a house. It's like an MMO. It's like the first MMO, and you could place a house anywhere. And like I had a house, and it was like incredible. It's like arrange all my stuff there, and it's pretty cool to be able to have that like digital space that was like my space.
Totally.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's definitely what we're driving towards, is that idea that you could have this central hub of all these interesting spaces that people can easily create and kind of import their own things. One of the other things that could be really cool, just being in the crypto space, is as you're playing these other metaverse games, other action games, whatever they are, if you're earning NFTs, and as achievements or whatever they are, you get these items and you could put them, as display in your room as well, right? As long as they're an NFT, we can kind of incorporate them and show, this is my trophy room of all the achievements that I got kind of across the web. So lots of cool stuff that we can do.
Can you invite people right now into your virtual space? How do you see like the interactivity evolving around the different around spaces?
Yeah, so one of the ways that a lot of people are using this in the Solana NFT communities to start out, and maybe Chris can hop in to expand on this a little bit, but there's definitely organizations, DAOs, NFT communities are buying spaces so that this is their hangout, this is their lounge, this is their community space, and they can deck it out however they want. So you can do that now. You could send a link to anybody. And everybody just hops in, right? Just from receiving the link. So voice chat's built in. We even had more features like screen sharing, so that like when we were building this, we were using it for like work collaboration. So that might come back further down the line, but yeah, there's a lot of cool communication stuff that you can do with that as well.
And I think a good metaphor is, think about Twitter Spaces and how many people who really love to participate in Twitter Spaces in Clubhouse. And then imagine just with a link, just as easy, then you can jump into a space, in the future, use your own 3D avatar from your favorite, NFT project. And then whoever hosts, they can, decorate, they can create the entire room just for that event, or just for that, space. You can have videos on the wall, you can have visuals, NFTs, you can have music playing. It can be so interactive. You can give, of course, the word, and anyone can speak. And so we'll have all these hosting and event features and controls. So people are looking forward
Somebody
to
built a comedy club. Yeah, so we're talking about things like radio show type things. I think that's a really cool concept that is still pretty early. You're seeing that with Clubhouse, where there's an audience and they can kind of, chime in, call in to participate. So that's definitely a thing that a lot of people are wanting to use this for. So that's kind of one of the main things that's going on right now. We do want this downtown experience to really be, a living, breathing place with quests and things to find. And so that's kind of the next phase. But in the meantime, we already have, lots of really cool stuff going on, just kind of on the, flex your NFTs, create a cool space, using it as kind of a communication tool. But yeah, we're definitely driving towards this really cool downtown experience that, people are just going to want to explore and earn items. And yeah.
How will you connect all of these spaces with this downtown space? Are you going to design that? Is it going to be open up to like other people designing it?
Yeah, so we are starting with kind of a curated approach where it's, we're trying to prove the model, and we're definitely going to be running experiments and making sure that, we're looking to things like RuneScape and EVE Online, these kind of open virtual economies that have done really well and stood the test of time, to, create this virtual world that's interesting and exciting. And yeah, we're still going to be figuring out exactly how to. I think that's going to be something that we iterate on. Where does this building go? Part of it is going to be community run. A big part of it is going to be community run early on. These early, the people that hold the NFTs, and then as we sort of prove that model, we want down the line this to be something that's much more of an open platform. Could be, could turn into a DAO. And essentially, let someone else spin up their own city somewhere else, right? And have those tools be there. So that's way down the line. We definitely want to prove this initial, that this is a great, awesome, cool downtown city experience. And then as we improve the build tools, because beyond just like an escape room, we do have a little bit of, the Roblox model, where you're able to, we can add more to the build tool so that people can build, obstacle courses and that sort of thing as well with these sort of easy to use click and drag tools.
Okay. Yeah, so early on you'll be able to go to the website, visit the directory or browse for events. So if you want to see crypto market data, or you want to see, what's in the Solana ecosystem or Ethereum ecosystem in terms of utility or what kind of brands or projects, then you can go visit that. Or we just had New Year's Eve, so a lot of people were hosting mini parties, and in the future there could be even more events. And then you can find all the events that will be open as well.
Cool. I love it. I feel like there's so many different ways you can take it and make it this programmable environment. I guess like all of Roblox, right, where people can kind of bring their own experiences into it. That's what's really exciting for me. It's like the programmability of like making your game a platform. It's also interesting, like this is, I feel like there've been a lot of innovations in the enterprise space, like GatherTown and stuff like that, people making these rooms that, you can have a team meeting in, or like have your virtual office or whatever. And now you guys are like the first thing I've seen that's trying to do that more for like the consumer, which is maybe a little more, it's kind of, it's fascinating. And having, like, how have you seen the NFT part of it make people value this more? Like, why is that important versus like having, versus a platform that was just open and anyone could kind of create any space that they wanted at any time?
Yeah, I think so. We're looking at it where, as long as we continue to execute and build this downtown area, like the same way that a website that gets a lot of traffic is valuable, we see, this dense hub area as being valuable, right? Lots of foot traffic, the same way anything with a lot of foot traffic is valuable, like Times Square. So that's just a cool way of experimenting with this, the idea of a room having your own virtual space. And we'll continue to kind of experiment with expansion from there, making it really easy for anybody to kind of create an experience and create, we really want to incentivize people to make those cool experiences so that is what ends up populating the downtown. So we're still working on releasing all of those details, but I don't know, Chris, if you want to hop in on any of that, but that's sort of how we're looking at it right now.
Yeah, and I think overall, also just to be able to capture all the amazing opportunities with Web3 and with the opportunities that will be for creators. I mean, obviously we have to be natively in the space as well. So that's definitely a big thing. Thinking about how can we empower creators in the future, but also in terms of people having ownership, having their own spaces and other things that we're working on.
I was just going to add a little to that, right? The whole why even have NFT? Why not just launch this in Web2? What crypto has added to this platform is something that, doesn't exist in Web2, where by selling NFTs, our community feel like they have an ownership in our platform. And that has been a really important aspect if we're able to build this strong foundation of a community. And on top of that, being able to involve other existing NFT communities, bring them into the platform, that has been amazing, right? As soon as we launch all these NFT communities, we've been talking about partnerships with them and talking about bringing their avatars in or having their NFT space. That has been amazing. Definitely it's not something that you can do in Web2. So I think the crypto NFT component is really important in making this successful.
I love that idea of it's kind of like you have these different spaces and they have different foot traffic. And so there's like in different intrinsic value, you could have NFTs or like different, the prime real estate or like storefronts that are like right on the main downtown street could be very expensive. And then you could actually make it so there's like buildings that are further away or whatever and probably get less foot traffic, but everyone, like it makes it there's kind of like a natural economy and like it could be just, accessible, but also like have like very high priced real estate and be a true economic system. And that's pretty cool.
Totally. And that's another super fun part of, when people have, a piece of it, right? There's the community ownership aspect. So you almost have this like SimCity gameplay element as well, where, just by participating in the community, you're helping to make these decisions and put forward ideas how should this city expand and be built, and if everybody agrees, that's how we do it. So that's one of the really cool aspects as well.
I love it. That's awesome. So what's next for you guys?
So we're rolling out the downtown. We're rolling out a bunch of really cool experiences. The thing that we showed with like the bronze key hunt, that little screen share thing I did, is kind of just the beginning. That was a really cool. A lot of the people that participated in that, we had 100 Ivory NFTs, Portals NFTs were given away to the first 100 people to solve the puzzle. So we're going to go way bigger with the next one for the silver key hunt, and just lots of activities that we're going to be able to roll out with this, because we do have the foundation is kind of set now where we have been building for density. So if we wanted to do kind of a multiplayer event, we could roll out a build that is specific to this one event where 300, 400 people have to hop in and do almost like a Fall Guys type experience. These are all things that are kind of going on in the background. We haven't we haven't shown a lot of this stuff yet, but lots of just really cool experiences that we're able to use the foundation of the tech for to roll out, mint this NFT if you complete this activity. We're doing a whole big thing with the silver key hunt. And, beyond all these fun, cool activities that we're rolling out, there's the downtown experience, which again, it's going to take some time to build, but we're starting with, we have partnerships with most of the big names in the, Solana, space, FTX and Audius. They're going to have storefronts in the downtown, so you can go in and listen to Audius music. One of the features that we're rolling out really soon too is the music feature, which we're incorporating, integrating with Audius, so that send somebody a link and your music plays, right, and it'll stream to everybody in the room. So a million different things that we're working on, but yeah, the big thing is the downtown experience and making that a real living fun place to explore.
To add to that, like currently launching people's spaces, that's kind of phase one. So allowing people to build their own spaces, that's the first part. And the next step would be, now that people build cool spaces, how do we curate a good experience to highlight the really cool experience and make downtown awesome? And on top of that, we're also definitely going to have daily item loops similar to Animal Thing, where people will have inventory, collect items, and sharing with other communities. Like we talked about doing a little fractal summoning circle, right? Like being able to work with other NFT communities and see how we can come up with cool campaigns and events together, so that different NFTs have to be combined to mint new NFTs, right? Those are going to be interesting opportunities for us to experiment.
I'm so excited for that. The Fractal collab could be really awesome.
Yeah.
And I just love, like, you guys are an example of, I've thought one of the powers of making NFTs, items or in-game items, NFTs, is that you can programmable and take into other places, like in, other metaverses, other
Absolutely.
game experiences. And Portals is a great example of like a platform on top, where you can bring in your NFT art from other platforms or your like other collections or whatever. You can maybe figure out ways that people can build experiences with other NFTs, and that's like, I think that's how the metaverse gets created.
Absolutely.
That's pretty cool to me. Awesome, guys. Well, thanks for joining. This is great. Where can people find out more about Portals?
A good place to start would be the Twitter, which is twitter.com/_portals_, or the website at theportal.to.
All right. Chris, Adam, Jackie, thanks so much for joining me.
Yeah,
Thank you
thanks
so much,
much.
Justin.